Hello everyone! Welcome back to Reddo Reads. And as for this subscriber's request, we have r/Am I the Devil today. If you want me to cover some specific subreddit in the next video, leave it in the comments. How can I, 28 female, get my husband, 28 male, to talk to me and see I'm owed an apology for his hurtful, disrespectful words? Sorry for the throwaway, we'll also try and make this as short as possible. My husband and I have been married for the last 2 years now. I really love this man, I really do, but he hurt me and disrespected me by telling me to F off last Saturday when I woke him up so we could get started on the plans he had for the day, shopping and some chores he wanted to get done. He has been working for a little over a month and think between 13 and 17-hour days due to some issues with overseas clients that he's in charge of. Some nights he has even came home with work still to do, and then he sits in front of the computer till the early morning. I work from home, so the last month's majority of everything has fallen on me. He wanted to get some things done around the house, but haven't gotten to due to his schedule, so he planned to do it over the weekend. Saturday morning, around 5 a.m., he got into the house and passed out on the bed with his work clothes still on. He even woke me up when falling onto the bed. I was awake since then and started with the day. Around 8, I woke him up and told him it's time to start with the day. He asked me to please leave him be for a couple of more hours because he was tired and just wanted some sleep. I reminded him that he set out the plans for the weekend and we needed to get the things done. He said, I know, but please, just give me a couple of more hours just to have some rest. He knows me and knows I like to stick to the schedule set out for us to get everything done. I shook him and told him to get up. We don't have time and the things need to get done. He mumbled something and I asked him to speak up. He then shut up and told me to F off. I am tired and there is a whole weekend to get things done. I am tired, I am at my limit and you are starting to piss me off. Then he left our room and locked himself in the spare room. I did follow him to the spare room, but he closed it in my face and I heard him say, effing ungrateful through the door. I am currently at my parents' house as I feel disrespected and hurt by what he said, telling me to F off because I wanted to stick to the list of everything he wanted to get done and the fact that he called me ungrateful for everything he does for me. I have never said anything or shown anything other than gratitude for the way he cares and provides for me, and having that thrown in my face hurts. My income doesn't amount to much, but still. I sent him a message telling him all the above and that I was hurt and felt disrespected, and I want an apology. He just responded with, you clearly do not know the meaning of disrespect. Just leave me alone. He hasn't answered any of my texts or calls for the last 3 days now. I have tried to talk to him through the doorbell and he doesn't respond. How can I make him see that he hurt me, that he disrespected me? One of my friends just laughed and told me I'm a stupid person and need to fix this before he divorces me. But she refuses to elaborate on anything that I did wrong. He made the schedule and planned everything out to be done. I just woke him up and wanted to stick to the schedule we agreed on. His disrespectful attitude was completely wrong, and telling your wife she's ungrateful and to F off is a step too far. How can I get him to talk to me? I want to talk this out, and I believe I am due an apology for what he said to me. What can I do? I want to go home. I really miss him, but I am a bit frightened due to his outburst. What can I do? Oh gosh, you can let him be, for example? And I love how OP is like, I want to talk this through. No, you don't. You just want to prove your point and make him apologize. But he didn't do anything wrong. I do not understand this type of partnership. When your husband is clearly overworked, and if you love him, if you respect him, if you care for him even, the only logical thing for me would be to want to help him. Why can't you go shopping alone? or go shopping later. I cannot even imagine. You go to work, you work for 17 hours. It's like more than double. Then you finally go back home. You are in your safe space, you go to bed, and literally 3 hours later, the person who is closest to you shakes you up and says, "Okay, wake up, we have to go shopping." I want to say F off, to be honest. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel, because I really want to get 25 more subscribers till the end of the week. So if you subscribe, you will make my day. Would I be a butthole for going back on a promise to my kids? Firstly, thank you for reading this. Going back and forth on this has eaten me alive, and an outside view beyond my father will help a great deal. When I met my now deceased wife, she had already had a successful career and owned a home while I was struggling to find my footing in my industry. She helped to get me to mature and focus on my career more seriously, and eventually I broke through and started contributing with the bills. Even then, she was making in the 300,000s while I was scratching and crawling to earn 50K. Well, eventually we ended up having 2 kids, 19 female and 16 male, before she was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer and passed away pretty shortly after that. She had made me promise to pass down the home I was set to inherit upon her passing away, and I did so with zero hesitancy, not knowing what life would have in store. The kids were made aware of it because they were present when it was laid upon me. It was very difficult for me to lose the love of my life, the apple of my eye, and I think it blinded me from seeing how difficult the promise would be to keep. 4 months after her passing away, I ended up shopping at a Kroger's when I met what is now my fiancé, 29 female, who has 3 kids of her own, 10-year-old male, 8 and 4-year-old females. We've been together for over 8 months, and the discussion has come about moving in together. But she's wanting me to sell the house and buy new construction together that wouldn't have memories of her around every corner, which I completely understand. The 2 issues that are currently eating me alive are that the kids are extremely upset that we'd sell mom's home that I paid some bills for too. And my father is worried that by selling this home to buy a new one would mean I would lose 50% equity if we separate in the future, which would mean my biological kids would only stand to inherit 50%, while my fiancé kids would inherit the other 50%, which I don't think the kids are aware of because I'd probably set off a nuclear bomb in the home. I broke the news to the kids on Tuesday about our plans, and they've all but ceased talking to me and have spoken pure vitriol on social media about me since then. And it hurts to see that, because we need to become a blended family, and they need to accept that they are going to have stepmom and step-siblings, and money shouldn't get in the way of family harmony, in my opinion. Would I be the butthole for going back on my promise to my deceased wife and going through with the sale of the family home to ensure our new blended family can have a larger home to grow up in? Oh wow, if it's true, I would pay money to get an update of this situation, because I can bet you that in the minimum legal amount of time, this girl will divorce him in a heartbeat, take away 50% of home, and move away. How naive you should be. She's 27 years younger than you are. I believe that love can be. The age doesn't matter. First, you say, my wife was a love of my life, an apple of my eye. But 4 months later, I met my new love of my life, a new apple of my eye. How many apples does your eye have? What a douchebag. You have nothing to do with that house. You didn't buy it. Your wife said, please pass it down to our kids. And you're like, now I have this new hot date and her kids, so I will sell this house. Oh, I want to use words that are not allowed on this channel. Am I the butthole for making my son apologize to my nephew for having a tantrum and making a scene? Me, 42 female, and my husband, 47 male, have a son who is 14. I'll call him Lucas. Lucas is generally a sweet and nice kid. He's friendly, he's very open, etc. He likes to read comics and draw. I think he's pretty good at it. I'm really proud of him. I couldn't wish for a better son. Anyway, Lucas has been visiting my sister, who is 28, for 3 days. My sister has an 8-year-old son, Gabriel. I was hoping Lucas would be friends with him. I exchanged messages with Lucas and he always said it's going okay. Yesterday I went to my sister's house to pick Lucas up and she looked really hurt. Lucas was sitting there gloom as well. I asked what was wrong and my sister told me to ask my son that question. It took me a long time to convince Lucas to tell me the truth, and he finally admitted what was wrong. As I understand it, Gabriel was curious about what Lucas was drawing. He had his sketchbooks with him. Lucas let him see his sketchbooks, but told him that Gabriel should handle them carefully. But when Lucas was outside, Gabriel, with his mother's permission as I understand it, and I am not excusing her for this, decided to check Lucas's things. When Lucas returned to the house, he found his sketchbooks torn up. I mean, I am not excusing what Gabriel did, but according to my sister, my son did not want to call me or my husband, and he didn't want to hear Gabriel's excuses. He threw a tantrum and called Gabriel a ton of names, even though my sister said he was just a kid. All these days, the atmosphere in the house was tense. My sister didn't call me because she was offended. My sister said she didn't even know if she would still want me or my son at their house after that. I said Lucas should apologize to Gabriel and his mom. Lucas was offended, but did so. When we go home, I ask why Lucas didn't tell me that Gabriel had torn up his sketchbooks. Lucas cried and said, "Because you never care." Those words hurt me deeply and were a low blow because I really love my son and I didn't think he could say those words to his own mom. But I promised him that I would buy him new sketchbooks and he could redraw his drawings in them. But my husband thinks I acted like a butthole in this situation and Gabriel and my sister are wrong. I am totally on your husband's side here. You never stood up for your son. I understand that maybe a sketchbook is not the biggest problem as you see it, but he is 14 and he doesn't own much. And since he likes drawing, I am sure that he takes pride in what he is creating. So this awful disregard of his feelings, oh, poor Lucas. The only thing he could apologize for was for overreacting and calling names. That was uncalled for. True. But Gabriel could apologize for doing that. But I believe he was totally right to be upset about what happened. And also pushing a friendship between an 8-year-old and a 14-year-old, that doesn't really make sense. They are from totally different age groups. They have nothing in common. Am I the butthole for letting my toddlers explore an empty store with no other customers? My wife, 29 female, and I, 32 female, took our 2 sons, 2-year-old and 3-year-old, to a bed store to look for a bed. We went to the store about 25 minutes before it's due to close, so it would be quieter. Upon entering the store, the salesperson greeted us and left us to our own devices. My wife and I were browsing the options and it was taking some time as it's one of the bigger stores. There were no one else in the shop at the time, so I let my kids have a little runabout in the store since it's a new experience for them. Admittedly, they were being loud-ish for running around an empty store and occasionally screamed, but there was no one there, so they weren't disturbing other patrons. I did try to shout to them to get them quiet down, as I saw the salesperson scowling at us from afar, which isn't the most polite thing to do in my opinion, but it's hard to ask them to quiet down when they are in an excitable mood. We didn't end up buying anything, as we didn't see anything we liked, and as we were leaving, my older was playing with the ottoman displays and pushed some of the bed frames down, and that made a loud noise as the bed slammed down. At this point, the salesperson, who has been stood silently at the side, started saying in a loud tone to my kid, "Please stop doing that." I've had enough of this salesperson because they've been nothing but unhelpful in this entire experience. Didn't ask us how we were doing, didn't offer any expertise, etc., sending annoyed stares our way. So I said to them that my son is 3 years old, hoping they'd understand that my son is young and they cannot understand verbal instruction, and there was no point of them being so stern with a 3-year-old who probably did not even know what was going on. At this point, the salesperson started walking towards my kid and the ottoman he pulled down and said to me to control my kids. I found this beyond shocking, as how dare they say this to me? They looked quite young. I would imagine someone who probably doesn't have kids and doesn't have any parenting experience, and definitely did not know what they were talking about. Not to mention, it was an incredibly rude thing and uncalled for thing to say. I said to them, "Excuse me?" To which they turned their heel and walked towards their desk area and sat down, refusing to engage with me any longer. I demanded their details so I could report them to their manager, because this experience has been extremely bad. I admit I raised my voice a little because I find their behavior unprofessional and I found their statement insulting. I didn't end up getting the salesperson details as they weren't willing to give them up. My wife said that I overreacted, but I'm not sure. Am I the butthole for letting my kids explore an empty store with no other patrons? The first thing that rubbed me the wrong way in this post is when OP said there was no one there. But then OP clearly said that there was a salesperson. Isn't the salesperson a human? Don't we respect his feelings? Also, I am sure there can be some kind of financial liability on that salesperson if your kids ruin something. The second thing that really annoyed me is when OP said, "Well, my kid is 3 years old. He cannot understand verbal instruction." Well, if your kid cannot understand verbal instruction, maybe you have to pay more attention to him. It is a public setting, after all. I personally have no bad feelings toward the kids because they are not responsible for themselves. But oh my god, the father is such a butthole. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. You can also watch that awesome video or this awesome playlist. See you next time!